Imagine a young graduate who spends 2 years preparing for a competitive exam. The exam is reformed, coaching becomes free. But what happens if, after clearing the exam or even after graduating, there simply aren't enough good jobs? That is the larger question behind India's youth crisis. Recent youth protests have highlighted examination reforms, including demands for fairer and more accessible competitive exams. And coaching matters. Government survey data shows that private coaching now takes up a larger share of household education spending than it did a few years ago. But here is the catch: coaching is only one side of the problem. Take medical education for example. More than 22 lakh candidates competed for roughly 1.4 lakh undergraduate seats, with fewer than 10,000 seats in the top 50 colleges. Engineering admission faces a similar supply demand mismatch too. So, the competition is not simply about students preparing better, it is also about too few high quality education opportunities and eventually too few quality jobs. This gives us an important UPSC framework: education, skill, employment, and economic structure. According to the argument presented in the source, among young graduates, only a minority enters regular salaried employment, and a even smaller share have salaried jobs with both contracts and social security. So, the youth employment crisis has two ends. First, the struggle to prepare for jobs. Second, the struggle to find decent jobs after preparation. And this is where free coaching has limited impact. India's economy is growing, but the key question is what kind of growth creates mass employment? Manufacturing. Historically, a major source of large scale employment remains around one sixth of gross value added, rather than reaching the much higher shares policymakers have targeted. At the same time, private corporate investment has weakened compared with the mid 20s. So, for a UPSC perspective, the issue connects directly with jobless growth, structural transformation, manufacturing, demographic dividend, skilling, and social structure. The solution, therefore, cannot stop at examination reform. It requires greater public investment in industrial capacity, stronger support for competitive and export oriented manufacturing, and a regulatory environment that allows especially medium sized enterprise to expand and create jobs. The objective should be simple: convert India's demographic dividend into productive employment. Because the real question is not merely how can we help young Indians prepare for jobs. It is how can we create enough productive and dignified and secure jobs for millions preparing for them. That is the real lens through which India's youth crisis must be understood. This is UPSC lens where current affairs meet the concepts behind them.